Okay, take two. I think I had to make some room on my phone. Anyways, so a couple of weeks ago, um, maybe even a couple months ago, I started listening to Bible Promises on YouTube, which is basically just like a compilation of all the Bible promises, all the promises in the Bible from God, just from as small to um, I can't think of a small one, but um, something where he's just like, John 3:16, or something that's like super elaborate, and just all the different places where he um, promises, I will do this and that, and I will be your God, you'll be my people, that type of stuff, and or a range of stuff. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Like all these little things in the Bible that are comforting and uh, just keeping track of all the places where God said he'll do something for his people is just a good thing to go back and look at. And I had a booklet of them that someone had given me, and my initial idea was to go through and read them. It's like I should just sit and read this book or whatever. And then I was like, I wonder if there's like an audio version of that because, obviously I'm way into audio anything. And so I was looking for that. And I was I was like, you know what? I should like read these out loud and make a compilation and record it and listen to it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure someone has already come up with this idea. And so I Googled it or I YouTubed it or whatever. And sure enough, they had already had, there was a few accounts that, had, Bible promises for 8 hours and, with waterfalls in the back and all this stuff. So I was like, oh yeah. So um, I was listening to that like right before bed, which was like, that was the most popular time to do that for me. And so I would listen to that and, I would, feel the Holy Spirit, like, and I was like, oh, Holy Spirit likes this Bible promises stuff. I'm going to just soak and listen to this and while I go to sleep and whatever. And typically, like, I don't like to listen to anything while I'm sleeping. Like, it wakes me up in the middle of the night. And it was kind of similar with this. Like, what I was doing in the beginning was um, falling asleep to it, and then I would wake up and then shut it off, like in the middle of the night, and go back to sleep. And I think eventually I was just able to sleep through it. And I do recall it seeping through my dreams a few times, kind of just like it's like background noise in the dream or whatever. Um, but anyway, I started doing that a couple of months ago, and I would say like in the last month, I have noticed that like um, my threshold for just certain things, maybe it's been more than a month, maybe it's been like 2 months. Time's just kind of flying by, so I have no idea. But like, I started to being bothered by. I don't know if if you even know what this is, but like, if you're a Christian, you become a Christian, and you get like a conviction is another word for it, but um, conviction is more of like something that you're doing. Well, I guess that's kind of goes with it. So like, there's certain things obviously that you're just not going to be able to um, imbibe that other people are able to. Certain things that, going to the bar is like, you're just like either worst case scenario, you're just completely offended by it. And best case scenario, you're just kind of like feeling out of place. Like you're just like, why am I even here? So, so I started to feel a familiar sort of, what do you call it? Um, that same feeling of just feeling that out of place feeling that you get, or like when you watch a movie that you used to love or something. That doesn't happen to me very often. I typically just watch whatever. Um, but for me, it's like music, like things that used to not bother me, like bother me now. And I think that has to do with getting older too. But like, there were certain things that I was just doing in normal life that was like starting to bother me. And I was like I've already cut out so much already. Like, and not just like, not in a, like, what do you call it, ascetic way or whatever. I'm not like trying to cut myself off from the world. It's just kind of like the same thing of like, you know, it's almost like another thing that you could compare it to is like having an allergy, just a certain allergy, or realizing that you're allergic to something, and that thing that you thought was just you occasionally got a flare up of this or that. It's like, oh, this is a food allergy. And so you cut that food out and then you don't have it anymore. Um, that's kind of what things are like in the spirit, um, for a certain thing. So it's not always as overt as like, oh, I used to go to the strip club and now I don't go anymore. Sometimes it's like, this activity that I see used to be benign. It's like, oh, this is giving me nightmares, or like, oh, like this is causing me to like, uh, you know, stumble and stuff like that. And so you just, once you realize it, you just cut it out. So, and then some things like you just can't enjoy anymore. Like I used to go on Twitter and, just be on Twitter and whatever. And, that wasn't really like a conviction or anything. That was more just like, after Elon bought it, it obviously changed a lot. And then just having a different perspective and realizing like Jesus is coming back soon. Like I don't have time to be equivalent about this nonsense anymore. Like everything just seemed like nonsense. And like, why are we even talking about this? Like we should just be talking about, are we ready for Jesus? And so I just like stopped doing that. And that was like, January. Like it was pretty recent. So I stopped doing that, and then I stopped. I haven't watched any real TV, but that's only because there's hasn't been anything good. So that's been pretty kind of easy. But even when I go to like do something, I'm like, I'm about to like eat up 2 hours of my life. Like I don't really want to. Like it could be something that's cool, but it's like I won't. It's like I don't force myself to watch things. Like how sometimes you're just like you're sitting in front of the TV. Like it's much harder for me to just sit in front of the TV and turn it on and just be subject to it, like for however long. I still can get caught on social media webs and stuff like that, and that's the other thing too. Like so there was really nothing I was doing, but I cut out like I was listening to a lot of audiobooks, and like I've cut that out a while now, like 6 months or something like that now, and so yeah, it was already down to like nothing but like listening to the Bible and watching videos of like Jesus, like near death experiences and people talking about having dreams of Jesus coming back. And that was like basically my diet of stuff. And, occasionally I'll like come back to the real world for this or that. So, but like, yeah, since I started listening to the Bible at night, I could like, it was getting to where like certain thoughts I was thinking like started to like bother me. I was like, yo, I don't think I can spend my time thinking about this anymore. Like it was really like, yo. And for some reason, I knew exactly what it was. I knew it was the Bible on YouTube, or the Bible on tape, as the old people say. Listening to that, I knew that's what it was because it was just like so sudden. There's nothing else that would have caused it. And so it was just like, I just did not have room for a lot of like, it really was like, I could feel that it was a stumbling block, and it was going to cause the devil to be able to like do something and like take away my time, my whatever, my focus. Like you could feel like I could feel the difference. And it was just like, it was at once realizing that I had a sensitivity, a growing sensitivity, and also not realizing that I had changed my threshold. I didn't even mean to do that. I didn't know I was doing that. So I wasn't trying to do that. So I changed my threshold and I was at a higher level, which I did not realize. And so now it was like the way that I knew that was that the slightest thing, what I would consider a slight thing at the time, was like in danger of like getting me off track. So it was kind of this dual thing of like, um, it's so weird. I mean, this is why people don't want to, um, they don't want to grow in God because they're afraid of the change. Because, um, yeah, if God isn't like your main focus, if you're just trying to make him just like a little piece of your life that's like going to regulate these other pieces of your life, like you will not want to go do too much because it really was like, oh, I can't even like daydream like about anything that isn't God related. Like it's really crazy. It's just like I can't even think about like, oh, if I would have did this life path or that this life path, like just it was just it's really interesting. It's like my inner thoughts, like and it's like it's not like it was there before. That's the thing. Like I'm thinking about different things, and then it's just like God is just like standing there. It's like having a house and having a private room in the house, and then suddenly like the room's not private anymore, and like Jesus is just there, and you're like, oh, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I guess I'll go back in the living room or whatever. Like, it's just really weird. I was just like, and I just, it's fine with me because um, I don't care. Like, I don't really want to do anything else. Like, it's just that anything else that I'm doing is literally just trying to make the time go fast until Jesus comes back. Like, honestly, and you know, whatever. So, just trying to keep it on stuff that matters. And it's really I was trying to like think of like what I could tell you, like what I'm thinking in my mind is, but it's really hard. It's really jumbled. I'll have to like do I'll do a whole video about what I think on a daily basis in my mind, but it's just like I'm trying to like give you an example, but it's really hard. But even like I can't go on TikTok anymore because like getting going on TikTok and getting caught in the occasional TikTok vortex, which is really easy. Um, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows like TikTok is hilarious. Like, I can't even do that. Like, which is like, oh, poo, I can't waste my time on TikTok, but it's just like, I gotta, I can't do anything like that. Like, cause I'm just not, I can't. And, a couple of months ago, that would have been not the wisest thing to do. It's like, sitting and eating a whole thing of Squeezy cheese. Yeah, you shouldn't do it. And, you feel terrible afterwards. But you only do it every once in a while. And then one day you try to eat the squeezy cheese and you can't even get through a whole can. You can't even get through a whole can anymore. It's like that. It's like, or you sit down with it, you're like, I'm not enjoying this. Like, it's really interesting. So, but yeah, I definitely like, I recommend listening to the Bible promises like on, at night or whatever, because I literally, it's not like I was studying the word or whatever. It's not even like I was asleep. So I couldn't even engage with it. But it totally like raised me up like effortlessly, like to the point where what the little things I was doing, those had to change too, because it was just like it couldn't, you know. And after you have received the power of the Holy Spirit, like I don't know what y'all do who don't have that, but it's quite easy to cut those things out because um, for a second you're like, can I just be normal? But then like ultimately the Lord wins out. Like it's really not a contest. So like I never had a chance of being normal. So that's okay. But like yeah, I hope I'm not really explaining this right. I'm probably gonna have to redo this video, but like um it also just brought to mind like people really be out here thinking that you're going to instantly change your life. And you're like, well, can I do this? And can I do this still? And what about this? Well, it's like, listen, you ain't even got to just, God will change your threshold if you continue going on the thing with Him. Like that just, it reminded me of that. It's like, did you do that when you first got into whatever you got into that got out of control and you became a maniac about it? Whatever it was, like, if you after you before you became a drug addict, I'm sure you were addicted the instant that it happened. But like even then, you still had to work your way up to work your way through thresholds. When you say I got addicted immediately, what you mean by that is I instantly knew that I was going to want to do this again and again. But you weren't addicted yet. If you had somehow, if something stopped you from getting your drug the next whatever, that would have been cut off and you wouldn't have been able to do it. It's the continual use of it that causes your thresholds to rise. So, it really is no different from God, and it shouldn't be like they're both technically spiritual things, or whatever. It's like you end up like being obsessed with chewing gum or whatever, or like you're a single mom or you're a stay-at-home mom, so you eat chips in the closet, like, and then you just become, it gets to be too much. It's one day at a time, one moment at a time, one, you know, oh, I can't wait to go eat chips in the closet day at a time. And suddenly now you need a whole bag. First you were going in for a handful, and then you needed like a little baby bag, then you needed the full bag. It's the same thing in God. So don't worry about what you can and can't do and what you're allowed and not allowed in the beginning. Like just keep going in the direction that you're going, and those things will fall away, just like if you were to do anything for a long time. If you were to start any new habit, it's the same thing. So, um, I mean, it literally happened by accident. So, um, yeah, let God change your threshold because He will. Just like the devil will change your threshold. it's about the same thing. I'm pretty convinced. So it's just a matter of where you put your energy. So okay, I hope that was coherent at all. I had one other thing to say, but I'm gonna just leave it there because that was probably pretty tedious as it is. Okay, bye.